What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. I wanted to thank you for all the support on the previous video about the assault rifles. I've heard your thoughts and read all of your suggestions, and believe me, I'm trying my best to make everything be top quality. I appreciate you all and thank you again, but now we're moving to the SMGs of Battlefield 6. First up, let's talk about the SGX. This is easily one of the most balanced and strong SMGs in the game. It's not overpowered in one single area, it's just really good at everything. The time to kill is fast, the DPS is high, and it stays consistent at ranges. You don't get the feeling where the gun just turns into a pea shooter after 20 meters. It holds its own. But the best part is how it feels. The recoil is a mix of vertical and horizontal, but it's super manageable and just pulls a little to the right. It's one of those patterns you just naturally get used to, if you know what I mean, just after a few matches, and then you're beaming people without thinking about it. The bloom isn't crazy either, so your shots actually land even when you're firing from the hip or on the move. You're not fighting the gun to hit your target. It doesn't have any weird gimmicks, but it gets a cheap 41 round mag, which is amazing for how little it costs. That bigger mag means you can challenge multiple enemies, pre-fire corners, and just generally be more aggressive without consistently worrying about your ammo count. So, me personally, why do I recommend it? Because it's reliable. You don't have to be a professional to use it. It just works, it's easy, it's consistent, and it's the kind of a gun that makes you play better because you can focus on your positioning and aim, not only controlling some crazy recoil pattern. If you want a top tier SMG, you can start with the SGX. Next up is the MP5. You saw this thing everywhere, and for a good reason. It's a classic that just gets the job done. Some will say that the TTK is slightly slower than the SGX, and that's true, but by a tiny margin. You give up a bit of that top tier fire rate, but what you get in return is a laser beam. The recoil on this thing is minimal. There is no strong pull to either side, it's just straight up and easy to manage. The bloom is a bit more horizontal, but it stays tight. So even though you're firing a little slower, you're hitting your shots more consistently. And in a fight, landing your shots is what actually matters. It also gets a cheap 40 round magazine, which is a great bonus. You get more ammo without a big investment. And don't forget, it has a 3 round burst mode that is really accurate if you prefer that for tapping heads at a slightly longer range. So why do I recommend it? If you want an SMG that's easy to control, reliable, and still is very competitive, the MP5 is a fantastic choice. You trade a very small amount of speed for much better consistency. It's a top tier option if you value a smooth and dependable weapon. Now, let's talk about the MP7. And this one is kind of complicated because on paper it looks weak. It has one of the slowest kill times in close quarters because of its low damage. In straight up fights against the SGX or MP5, you will probably lose. But this gun has a weird kind of potential. The recoil is very manageable and the bloom is more vertical, making it surprisingly accurate. It also has the base reload speed of any SMG, and you can get a 40 round magazine for it, just like the previous two, which usually cost around 25 points depending on which SMG we're talking about. So why would you ever use it? Honestly, it's not my top pick, guys, but if you're the type of player who values movement, fast reloads, and a laser accurate gun that you can just keep firing, the MP7 has a unique feel to it. It's not the best, but it's not completely useless. it's a niche pick for specific playstyles. But if you want to experiment with these SMGs, I think the MP7 could work in many scenarios, because some of the drop-off damage kind of doesn't fall as quickly as the other SMGs, but then again the damage is way lower than the other SMGs. For the UMP, as you can tell, I'm using the original names, guys. Sorry, like, I don't want to use these weird names. At least for the guns, I already know which guns they are. The UMP, or the UMG40, if you want to call it that, this one is okay. And when I say okay, I actually mean just okay. It's not a competitive pick. The slow fire rate and average damage give it pretty mediocre time to kill. You'll lose most straight up fights against top tier SMGs. The main annoyance is the recoil. While it's manageable overall, the first shot has a big kick, or that's at least my opinion, and it throws the aim off a bit. It's not as easy to use as the MP5, where the MP5 even has better RPM, and then it's a better gun overall. It does have a couple of things going for it. The bloom is minimal, so it's pretty accurate. It gets a cheap 36 round magazine. I believe this one is 15 points. And its 2-round burst mode is incredibly accurate and satisfying to use. Probably the best thing about this gun. So, like I said, just like the MP7, if you want to experiment, especially with this burst fire mode on 2 rounds, this gun is actually so accurate. So if you can take yourself away from the closer ranges where SMGs are the best, maybe this SMG can work. But at the end of the day, when you take yourself out of the close range, you should play a different kind of weapon, an assault rifle, a carbine, anything. But if you want to experiment, this is for you. So, would I recommend it? Not really. But like I said, unless you really want to experiment with the burst fire mode, then you can use it. For full auto use, it's outclassed by many others. So it has to be like a deer pick for me. Now, let's talk about the P90. I have to say, I really like this gun. It has a lower damage profile than some of the higher RPM SMGs, but it makes up for it in other ways. The recoil is very manageable, though it does have a specific pattern. It kicks high and to the left, so you just need to compensate by pulling down and to the right. And once you get the hang of it, it's not bad at all. The best part is the massive 50-round default magazine. So remember, you're not spending any points on the magazine. Not a single point you spend is gonna go to ammo, which is great, especially for a weapon like an SMG. Since the gun can't even use a grip as well, all your points are freed up for sights, laser, or other improvements you actually want. Plus, it has one of the best hipfires in the SMG family. The bloom is a bit circular, but if you stay within the preferred close to mid-range, it's perfectly fine. You'll have a great time with this. So, would I recommend it? Absolutely. For close range, aggressive play, and for other specific scenarios, it's not my top pick every single time, but it's a solid 7 out of 10. A great A-tier option if you want a high capacity, good SMG. Now, we're getting to the big boys. Those big SMG numbers. The Chris Vector, or the KV9. This gun is absolutely top tier monster, and here's exactly why. First, the stats are insane. It has the highest fire rate of any SMG at 1080 RPM. The time to kill is one of the fastest in game, right up there with the best of it. When you look at pure damage per second, or for short, DPS, nothing else comes close. It sits at a massive 450 DPS. 450 DPS. But what really makes this gun special is how it handles. You'd think something firing this fast would be impossible to control, right? But the recoil is actually very manageable. It's predictable and easy to learn, so you can keep those shots on target even when you're spraying. It also comes with a 2-round burst mode that is laser accurate, giving you some flexibility for those mid-range fights. Now, there is one big thing you need to know about this gun, and that is the ammo management. The standard magazine is pretty small for how fast this thing fires. The extended mags help, but they're expensive for what you get. If you are the type of player who misses a lot of shots, you're going to find yourself reloading after every single fight. But if you got good aim and can make your shots count, this thing will wipe entire squads. Obviously, you will have to reload a lot, but it can wipe entire squads by going solo for their players, and they won't even have time to react to save each other. If you can pick your targets perfect, it's an S+ tier weapon, no question, at least in my opinion, and probably the best pure close range killer in the SMG category. And then we have the second monster from the SMG family, and that is the SCW-10. This gun isn't just a top tier, it's in a class of its own. Let me break it down exactly why this is the best SMG in the game. First, the numbers don't lie. This thing has the fastest time to kill of any SMG we've tested, at 0.15 seconds. How is that even possible? It kills in just 3 shots up close with 33.5 damage per bullet, which is insane for an SMG, guys. This is a pocket gun. It's an SMG. The DPS is also incredible at 446.7, which is a bit lower than the Chris Vector, but the TTK is better. So if you want pure TTK, you're better off with this. But what really makes this gun special is how it handles. The recoil is very manageable. It pulls a bit top right, but it's easy to control and learn. The bloom is barely noticeable because you're only firing a few shots to kill someone. With just 15 rounds by default, the gun doesn't even have the time to get inaccurate before your target is already down. Now, there is one thing you need to know, the same as the Chris Vector, ammo management. The standard magazine only holds 15 rounds, and while the extended mags helps, they get expensive fast. 20 points for 20 rounds, 45 points for 25 rounds. But here's the advantage over the Chris Vector. At 800 RPM, you can afford to miss a couple of shots and still have enough ammo to finish the fight. You're not burning through your entire magazine on one target. But the bottom line, this is probably most likely the king of the SMGs. It's an S+ tier weapon that gives you the fastest kill time without being as punishing as the Chris Vector. Where if you want an absolute best close range weapon in the game, this is it. And we come to the last SMG. Finally, let's talk about the SL9. This gun is the definition of average, guys. On the positive side, it handles really well. The recoil is straight up laser beam and the bloom is extremely low. It feels smooth and accurate right out the box, even with default attachments. It's very easy to use, and maybe that's why people pick it or use it. But here's the problem. The other guns do everything better. The SL9 has a pretty slow fire rate, which gives it one of the slowest kill times in the SMG category. You will lose fights against almost every other SMG we've talked about. The attachment costs are also a joke. 60 round magazine costs a massive 55 points. Who designed this? This is ridiculous, dude. You're better off spending those points elsewhere. But 55 points, that's like 3/4 of your whole point pool, let's say. This is incredibly ridiculous. But why is it a C tier, you'll ask? Because it's not terrible, it's just outclassed. It's in the shadows. It's a solid beginner gun, which the irony here is that it's the last on the list. But once you try out the other guns like the SGX, MP5 or any other of the S tier options, or S plus even, you'll never look back. It's okay, but in a category full of killers, being okay isn't enough. So, my final recommendations, coming from someone who's been playing a lot of SMGs and assault rifles, pick the Chris Vector 9 and the SCW-10 for close range and use them as weapons which secure you at least one kill. Whether that be a lone soldier who got lost or someone you want to shred and retreat quickly just to have +1 when it's squad versus a squad. Use the SGX if you want the same, but for things to be more forgiving and less quick. So you're trading some things to gain others. And obviously use the MP5 if you want a balanced SMG across all ranges that can do every single thing that the others can, but with lower DPS and TTK values. Me personally, guys, you know me, I'll always choose the wild side of things and go Chris Vector and shred people one by one and keep reloading because of how good this gun is. If you wanna be wild like me, you do the same. I'll see you on the battlefield, boys. And with that being said, don't forget to support the channel by subscribing, leaving a like, or sharing the video with someone. I really have fun making these videos for you guys and sharing my experience and my time spent in this game and in many others, and trying to make you pick a particular weapon for yourself based on your playstyle. But if you have any suggestions, ideas, or comments, feel free to open a discussion with me down in the comments section. It would mean the world to me, guys. Thank you so much again. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for supporting the channel, and stay safe. See you guys.